Hello and welcome to the February 2022 Iowa Chapter and Cedar Rapids Railfans YouTube slideshow. Today, with me, I have Jiles Tihpen of Cedar Rapids, and he is going to be sharing with us a modern look at the Iowa Interstate Railroad. Jiles, why don't you give us a little preview of what we're going to see today?
We will be seeing the modern day Iowa Interstate as it is, GEVOs and all. We'll also be looking at steam operations from this year in 2019, basically between Des Moines and Blue Island.
Excellent. So, just as a side note, next month is going to be a program of some of the more modern Larry Anglin material. And then in April, we're going to have a streetcar program, which will be brought to us by Earl Short. So we're looking forward to that, a Des Moines streetcar program. So, Jiles, let's jump right in. I see that you've taken us back to 1951 here with this first photo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
All right, this is the last run coming out of Des Moines for the September runs out of for the Science Center in Des Moines. The sun wasn't working my direction a bit, so decided to throw in black and white. We are standing in one of the overpasses just west of Des Moines as the, I believe, 1 o'clock train departs Des Moines with the skyline in the background.
Very nice. Yes, the steam engines always look good in black and white, no matter how people try to transcribe them in different ways.
Oh yeah. Here we are at Des Moines at the loading place. On the left is Bill Nelson, and the right is his father Kyle Nelson. They are volunteer conductors for the railroad that runs when they run special trains. They usually put on conductor outfits and whatnot, and they take tickets and help everyone out on the train. We are in the first car of the excursion consist, and Bill is giving the passengers a rundown of what to expect during the trip, telling the passengers, you know, one thing I remember him saying is, if you get coal ash in your eye, blink because you don't want to rub it out because it'll irritate your eye.
Yeah, it's actually kind of rare. The Iowa Interstate still operates these as coal burning steam engines, whereas a lot of the modern steamers are converted over to oil burning, such as the 4014 and the 844.
Yep, and it sounds like a lot more railroads are going more to oil as coal is slowly being phased out everywhere. Here we are looking at the deadhead into Newton. I mean, from Newton to Des Moines on that Friday prior. In the background is the state capitol you see, and they're currently crossing Des Moines River.
Yes, and you've got the former DMU bridge there in the background also.
Yep. Here is the opposite direction looking towards Des Moines that we are in May of 2017. This is a CBBI uh, afternoon run out there back then. So thankful to have some clouds this day. Here we are back on the deadhead again. We are just west of Shortline Yard. This will be coming up to where the NS and Iowa Interstate Connect. Do not remember what crossing that is. I mean, junction name or whatnot, but this would be just west of Shortline.
Yeah, that's the distant signal looking back toward the short line interlocking.
Yep.
Yeah, the big elevator would be right behind you from where you're standing there.
Uh, Here we are just east of Altoona, Iowa. This would be summer of last year. This would be a business special staging, taking their train to go stage at Des Moines for a run out to Council Bluffs the next day. Here we are a bit farther back. We are looking at a NSDMPE. Interstate gets these trains around maybe few times each year to that that'll shuttle grain from Des Moines to places along the NS, and Iowa Interstate has contract from Peoria to Des Moines to take them.
You know, it's quite the consist there. You've got the solid NS power with the solid set of NS system hoppers too. I didn't realize that they ran those quite in that manner.
Yeah, it's something looks pretty good. Here we are with another DMP. No, this would be a PEDM at Mitchellville. We got two brand new rebuilt SD70 ACCs in the lead here. Here we are between Mitchellville and Colfax. This will be coming back from Des Moines during their September excursions. Got a little pacing shop where Highway 6 pace parallels the interstate between Mitchellville and Colfax.
A little bit of blur to those drivers as they're cruising along.
Oh, yeah. They were going, I'd say, around 30.
Sure.
Here we are at Colfax on the deadhead going out to Des Moines. It was a bit dreary that day, so luckily I didn't get poured on here like I was on the drive out. Here we are. This would be August of 2021. We are at Newton, Iowa. The 6988 is getting ready for runs out of Oxford and Wilton the following weekend. And here they are prepping their train to haul to South Amana to be in position for those runs.
So it's interesting because the Iowa Interstate always runs it with that tool car and with the water tender.
Yes, that water tender is very interesting. Don't see too much tank cars serving as water tenders out anymore. Here we are for the final run 6988 before its rebuild. This will be in October of 2021. Lots of steam coming out. It was a very cold morning. It was very happy to see the steam stick.
Yes.
Here we are again, same day, pulling their tool car and water car out of the shop to head to their train to take South Amana.
Was this one of the days where they hauled freight to South Amana?
Yes, they had sand cars as for weight to burn off the coal because their main objective was to burn off coal, if I remember correctly, to burn off rain coal before they were stored.
Yeah, they had half a tender left or whatever it was they needed to use up.
Well, they had more than half a tender. They had still coal at South Amana. They still had coal at Newton. They took coal out of 7081. Lots of coal everywhere they had to burn up.
Wow.
Here we are coming back from the Oxford and Wilton excursions on the Monday after, pulling on a nice show, pulling into Newton, should I say, with a load of tank cars behind them. Here we are just a little east of Newton, between Newton and Kellogg. We have that same PEDM again, coming around the curve. And this is one of my favorite shots I've gotten of these trains. Sun was out. Those new units were clean. Couldn't ask for much more, even though I got a bit clouded over here, but
looks like a pretty beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day. Here we are. This would be in July of 2021. This will be maintenance runs. The crew of the 6988 has, during this week prior, was working on it, making sure everything's ready to go for their upcoming excursions. And here they are coming out of Kellogg in their first run up the hill to Newton. Interesting to note, on this run, they did not use the water tender or tool car because they were operating so close to Newton.
I see that. A lot of black smoke there. He's working hard upgrade.
Oh, yeah. Here we are at Kellogg. This will be the last day of running before it was stored. They are going 40 through here, making a lot of smoke coming out. Here is another shot from there. We're on the other side of the tracks. This will be going towards Oxford and Wilton for those trips. This is one of my favorite shots I've taken in 6988 this past year, so decided to add it. Here we are. This will be April of 2021. We are looking at a X Newton switcher, which is actually a KCS train. The KCS and Iowa Interstate had a contract to run grain trains out to the Heartland elevators. And when those got low, they ran south on the KCS. I don't remember if they went to Texas or not, but they went somewhere down south. Maybe even to Mexico.
Would this be a good time to start a rumor about the CP and KCS also buying Iowa Interstate?
It would be a good time. Here we are at Grinnell, Iowa. We are coming out from the Deadhead Run. Here we see 6988 pulling freight from South Amana during its shakedown run. One of the members of 6988 is also a firefighter for the Grinnell Fire Department. And the Grinnell Fire Department brought a truck out and his family. You see him, they made a quick stop there and provided a nice photo for this.
Was it actually refilling the water stop, or was this just a photo op?
This was just a photo op.
Gotcha.
Here's the crew of the 6988. They asked us photographers at Grinnell for a picture. From the left, we have Kyle Gerke, if I remember correctly. Left to right, next one is Tom Meyerhoff, Steve Hack, Robert Franzen, Dennis Doherty, Jed Peterson, Ed Ripp. The guy standing on the locomotive would be Doug Crary, and the final guy on the right is Colin O'Brien.
Looks like a hard-working crew.
Oh, yeah. We're cutting coal on the way, so that explains why some of those guys are all covered head to toe in soot. Here we are at the Grinnell Diamond again with the KCS Grey Ghost leading the Newton switcher. This is where the Rock Island would have crossed the MSTL, now UP.
I believe that restaurant at the depot has been closed now for a while. Somebody sent me a note about that in the last couple months. Apparently they did not survive the pandemic.
Yeah, it's sad. I was really hoping to eat there someday, but, you know, some things can't stay forever. Here we are a little bit further back towards the home signal there, guarding the diamond. This will be another deadhead run to South Amana for the Oxford and Wilton trips.
You got quite the photo line going this day.
Oh, yeah. I saw that photo line. I was like, you know what? I maybe go somewhere where there's less people getting the same shot as me.
Yes.
Here we are at Malcolm, coming in to Malcolm. This will be the same run of the train. Just I wanted to get them back there towards the wind towers, but luck didn't turn out in my favor.
I don't know. It feels like you got a few windmills in this shot.
Oh, yeah. There's a bit farther back. You can get a bit more, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Here we are at Brooklyn on the final run. The crew of the 6988 is taking lunch here while they meet the eastbound CBBI. Another shot at Brooklyn. This would be a Newton South Amana train. Went out for this train the specific day because I heard that they had 3 Jeeps in the lead. I was like, boy, you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's hard to get a matching set of those EMD standard cabs anymore.
True. Here we are looking off of the bridge, looking east. This would be an SACB train, which is basically a BICB. This crew, I believe, takes it from South Main to Earlham. They'd flip back on the CBBI. Here we are down below towards the Old Shanty. This would be a Newton switcher coming back from South Amana after ferrying the CBBI there, taking around 20 cars back with the 516 in the lead, one of two of Iowa Interstate specially painted motors.
Not quite heritage units. Yes.
Not quite heritage units, no. Here we are at Victor. This would be another deadhead. No, this would be the shakedown run to South Amana and back. Bit hazy in the sky. The guy in the tender, I promised I'd give him a shout. That's Jacob Narup. He was cutting coal on the trip from Newton to South Amana.
Do they have mechanical stokers in there, or they got dudes with shovels feeding the fire?
I believe that it's stoker.
Okay.
And cutting the coal gets coal down into the stoker that's
Right.
built up, like piled.
Yeah, it gets it down onto the auger so it can get pulled into the. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we are looking east off the Highway 6 bridge between Victor and Ladora. This was a BICB. Bit typical BICB, grain cars, whatnot. But today they are hauling an NS switcher for the NS Operation Des Moines and an ex-KCS cab end, which I believe went down to Missouri. This would have been that KCS handed off to UP at Shortline, I think.
Interesting. Was that a Relco rebuild out of Silvis?
Yeah, it came out of NRE Silvis, I believe.
Or NRE Silvis, yes, there you go. Relco's in Albia. I'm getting my rebuild shops mixed up.
Here is an earlier photo of mine from 2019. We are just west of Ladora. Here's 1698 on a shakedown run south of Amana, preparing for 2019 trips. I don't remember where exactly they ran in 2019. I know they ran some in Illinois, some in the West End, and 4th of July they ran out of Oxford.
Yes. They had a pretty full slate in 2019, if I remember correctly.
Here we are at Ladora with deadhead to South Amana again. Ladora is one of the few spots in Iowa State where a lot of Rock Island code line is still up, so I tried to incorporate it wherever I can.
The insulators even survived surprisingly well in this area.
Yes, surprisingly, they survived the derecho and everything.
Uh-huh.
Here we are just east of Ladora. This would be another Newton South Amana train with two Jeeps. They have a few scrap guns from Grinnell and a lot of grain coming from Newton.
Looks like they were working pretty hard to get up the hill, too.
Oh, yeah. Those Jeeps are sure making the noise coming up that hill. Here we are. I don't remember the date, but this is 2020. Don't remember what month. This will be a DMPE with an NS Heritage Unit leader, the NS 8102 Pennsylvania. This is between Ladora and Marengo.
You know, I feel like about a dozen of those NS Heritage units circulated their way in and out of Des Moines over the course of, about 3 years?
Yes, they did. And some even came up Cedar Rapids with Peoria to Cedar Rapids cool trains, too. I believe 1070 was the biggest one that ran on that one. Here we are at Marengo with a CBCR cool train that comes from the BN. They sold this contract from UP in, I believe, 2019. These trains run to the Alliant Energy Prairie Creek Station in Cedar Rapids. And coming over the Iowa Interstate, they use mostly all BN power. Today we have a Mace leader.
I see we managed to move a little bit of freight alongside of the coal hoppers today.
Yep. I'm not sure where. I think they get picked up at Council Bluffs or Newton. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But usually they put some freight, like hot freight for the east, on this train. They run it the next day as a SABI. Here we are between Marengo and South Amana. Over, I believe this is Bear Creek. This was a westbound OCS, same one that we saw earlier. heading towards Des Moines. Here we got South Amana proper. This would be an NTSA. They ran from South Amana out west to go pick up some grain from, I believe, Kellogg. And today we have the 152 and a slug set on this train. And I was pretty impressed with this train. You barely see those two out anymore. Well, 152 is coming back soon, so well, by the time that this slideshow starts, it should be already out running.
Potentially, yes. I think those slugs are 100% out of service now.
Yeah, they are stored at Silves.
Yep.
Here we are at South Amana. We are looking at it. We are in fall of 2019. This is an employee appreciation special for the 35th anniversary of the Iowa Interstate. They did these trips out of South Amana, Silvis, and Council Bluffs. They ran it with the cars they used for the steam train, and they gave short rides for the employees and their families. Here we are departing South Amana on the last run of 6988, and 6988 was sure putting on a show departing South Amana this day. Here we are on the east end of South Amana. The guy in the foreground is Henry Posner. He is the chairman and owner of Iowa Interstate. He's out for the trips of Oxford and Wilton. Here he is taking pictures of his steam locomotive along with foam line that was on this side of South Amana.
Yeah, he definitely spearheaded the existence of these steam engines back in 2006 when they came over.
Yep, I believe he bought them to test the feasibility of having Chinese steam locomotives and tourist operations, and they just stuck ever since.
Right.
We are back in 2019. The 6988 is back. No, I believe they are pulling down the Yoakum connection to why they're trying to head back to Newton. The Yoakum connection is where the Iowa Interstate and the Cedar Rapids and Iowa City Railroad meet. The line that the CIC is on is the ex-Milwaukee Road that ran between Marion and Ottumwa.
Yes. Well, and the interstate put in this connection. It never existed prior to 1980.
Correct. Here we are on the Cedar Rapids sub. We are heading up to Cedar Rapids. This is an SACR train. Today we have 3 Jeeps and a Jevo on this train, which is quite rare, I'd say, as it's usually mostly Jevo power that heads up to Cedar Rapids. Here we are at East Amana with the CBCR coal train at sunset. This is a bit down the hill at East Amana with an SACR2. These trains, the SACR2s were my favorite trains to chase up because they always run up in nice evening light.
Yes, at least in the summer anyway. Yes.
Yeah. Bit further up the line, we're at Walford Hill, is a very famous railfan spot. Here we have an SACR with 4 G's on the point for. I believe they had a big load from the CIC that day, so they brought some extra power up that day.
Sure.
Here we are at Walford itself with another CBCR, 2 BN Gevos in the lead. Here we are between, this would be milepost 6.5 where Iowa Interstate dispatching ends and CIC dispatching starts. They are in the descent into Fairfax where they will be entering the 950 yards to do their interchange work.
Yep, Highway 151 over on the right there. Heading down toward the Amana colonies.
Yep. Here we are at Fairfax. This would be a June in 2021. The 513, the Rock Island Heritage Unit, leading the SACR into town.
I don't know that I've ever seen that billboard down there, or at least I've never framed it in a photo anyway. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I've seen that billboard a few times, and I was like, it'd be cool if someone framed that in there, and I got my shot one day. So here we are at this would be as what the Cranic dubs Mud Road. This should be Old Bridge Road in Cedar Rapids with an SACR. The Cranic Carmen on the left is waiting for the interstate to drop their cars so he can inspect the interchange traffic. This would be January of 2020, if I remember. Oh, this is CRSA, the opposite run. As you can see, there's two Ferromex Chivos behind the typical Iowa Interstate power that day. I believe the Ferromex Givos came off a corn syrup train for ADM.
All right. Apparently, they didn't take the time to turn their power or run around it before they came back.
I think the 505 led up, if I remember correctly. Then they put, for some weird reason, sometimes they like running around the train, putting the leader back on for a southbound run.
Yeah.
Here we are. This would be Labor Day of 2019 with another CRSA, this time with a NS-70 Maclear that came in on a coal train from the NS. The coal trains ran to ADM before the UP stole the contract.
All right.
Here we are, just this will be around 6.5 again with another CRSA. This time they have a KCS unit trailing that came in off, I believe, another corn syrup train for the ADM. Like, I like the contrast with the Iowa Interstate motor and KCS motors. They look real slick together.
They do. And apparently the Iowa Interstate is not at all shy about running this leased power, or this run-through power up to Cedar Rapids.
No, they are not. Here we are just a bit further down from where I was. This is another CRSA. I've been wanting to find a bit more shots than the typical shots I usually get, so this one I really liked. So here we are, just on the other side of that farm on the side of 151. This is an ex CRSA pulling corn loads out of Cedar Rapids.
Winter shot. Feels a little more at home today as we're recording in January or December. Yes.
Yep. Here we are on the other side of a cornfield of that same train we saw a bit earlier. This is another one of my favorite shots. I like adding the corn and the grain silos there.
And you got a grain hopper head out too.
Yep. a bit. The picture screams Iowa. Here we are. This will be early 2020. I don't remember the exact month, but this is the inaugural run of the Iowa State's new first received unit, the 517 off the new order. Still very shiny from that paint working from Kansas City.
Yeah. Looks slick.
Here we are at Walford Hill again at the bridge over the tracks. This will be XCRSA pulling coal from the CIC to head back to the BN. Here we are. This is Swisher Blacktop with another CRSA with 505 again and the 513. Here we are at East Amana with 151 in the lead, leading two Givos. It was always cool to see the SD38s back on the Cedar Rapids line when they were originally bought for Cedar Rapids trains, right between Iowa City and Cedar Rapids.
Yes.
back in 2004, I believe.
So there was, just to give everyone a little bit of history about this, the Krandic used to pull everything down the interurban main to Iowa City, and then shove up the hill track to interchange with the Iowa Interstate in Iowa City. And then what you're talking about is when they actually put in the east leg of the Y at Yoakum, and the Iowa Interstate started running from Iowa City up to Cedar Rapids to interchange.
Yep, there's a few trains of. I mean, there's a few times Crank used the Amana line, a lot more extensively in the later parts than running via Iowa City and North Liberty.
Yeah, but I know the folks in Iowa City were very happy when Gilbert Street and Highway 6 weren't being blocked for hours at a time during that pull by and shove interchange process.
Here we are. This will be Halloween of 2019. Uh, Early snowfall that year. We have CRSA picking up a fresh coat of snow.
Yeah, first train through, there's still snow being pushed off the ball of the rail.
Yep, it's snowed really hard after they arrived in Cedar Rapids that day, and I had the morning off, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go try for this train. Here we are coming up the east leg again. The Iowa Interstate 151 is surely struggling up with all that loads coming up from Cedar Rapids up the east leg. Here we are, another shot from the east leg. We have 3 GEVOs this time.
It doesn't really capture it, but it really is a tough climb to get up that east leg and around toward Homestead.
Yes, I'm not sure the percentage of that grade, but it's a big one. Here we are on the shakedown run again. The 6988 is shoving down the east leg this time to Y and head back to Newton. This will be on the main line now. This is an SISA, the Silva South Amana train, that ran extra during the daylight. I'm not sure the reasoning behind it or anything, but this train usually runs at night. It was a welcome surprise that day.
Apparently they had freight to move.
Yep.
Couldn't wait.
Here we are at the crossing for the Y. This will be, I believe, this is the SACR shoving into the yard, making a few switch moves with new 518. Here again is 518, and 2 Jeeps are on CBBI. This train was a hot ethanol train for Chicago, so they ran it ahead of schedule out of South Amana that day.
It's like a thumbs up from the engineer there too.
Yep, knew the conductor. He always likes giving waves, whatnot. So here we are at Homestead again. Will be an SASI. I'm sorry, with brand new 519 arts first run on the system. Well, besides on the Cedar Rapids sub. I like this shot because it shows basically one of everything the Iowa Interstate owns: GEVO, SD, and a Jeep.
Yeah.
Here we are at the same crossing. This will be the ferry move to Oxford from South Amana with the freshly repainted coaches in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure the red.
Tuscan red, is that what they call it?
Tuscan red, yeah. Yep. We are one crossing down from that last spot at Homestead. This will be a CBBI. During the summer, they ran on a temporary schedule where 1,500 crew would take the Sassy to North Star, and 1,500 crew would take the BIC to North Star, and they'd flip crews there and take each other's trains back to South Amana or Silvis. Here we are at Johnson, Iowa Road. This is BICB on the temporary schedule. Once in a while, the BICB run to South Amana, and they'd flip on the CBBI there.
Makes for some nice afternoon daylight.
Oh, yes. Here we are at Oxford in August of 2021 before the Oxford excursions. This will be about a week before. This is a board of directors deadhead to Peoria, where the Iowa Interstate board of directors will ride the train from Peoria back to South Amana.
Very sharp looking combination there.
Yeah. Here we are, the first trip of 2021. This will be the 10 o'clock run to Coralville, coming back into Oxford with a 700 lead.
You just barely make out that plume of steam in the very back past the crossing.
Yep. During this time, I also was invited to ride along the Iowa Interstate business cars. Here we're gonna have a little tour of the cars. This is the interior of the Hawkeye, looking towards the observation deck. It's got some nice gauges. One is a clock, one's a speedometer. I don't remember the other two. I believe one's for air pressure too, and one might be a barometer.
Whose camera is sitting over there on the desk?
That would be RJV's. This is looking the other way. On the end of there, it has a nice map of an early Rock Island map.
Yeah.
Still in the Hawkeye, this is looking at one of the other tables towards the front of the car. That plaque in the left, it shows the history of the Hawkeye, which is an ex-KCS car. And prior to that, it was a Mid-South. I don't remember who the car was built for exactly, okay, but it shows history of the car. And here's the other end of that table, looking towards the front of the car.
Some nice Gilded Age artwork there.
Oh, yes. This is the interior of the Abraham Lincoln, which is a kitchen diner combo. This car was originally built for the UP and saw service on the city trains. Huh. Here we are in Oxford of 2019. The crew of the 6988 is mounting flags on the front of the locomotive because today is 4th of July.
Very nice. Very patriotic of them.
It's a bit weird seeing a Chinese steam locomotive flying American flags, but you know, something.
Well, did they take isn't this the one they took the builder's plates off and quote unquote Americanized?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Here we are, first run out of Oxford that year with the American flags flying and a big old plume of black smoke as they rocket out of Oxford. Here we are just east of Oxford. This will be an SISA. This would be in June of 2020. They ran the SISA early due to some events that happened that month. I'm not going to go into that, but here we're at the crossing. This is an FRA inspection train that would ran in, I believe, April or May of that year. This is, I believe, the first time the FRA inspection train ran on the Iowa Interstate. So, quite a few foamers out chasing this train.
Yeah, I know they get the CN inspection car down there at least once a year.
Yep, I believe they get once, twice a year whenever that cycles through Iowa again on CN.
Yep.
Here we are at what is affectionately known as the detector curve for the 248, I believe, 8 detector. This will be BICB with a nice healthy cut of stacks on the head end.
Yes. Where are we at here, Jiles?
Picture is not switch over to my side.
We've got the 150 leading the 511.
Here we go. This will be BICB at Tihpen back in February of 2020. This is another one of those, basically one of everything on the train. We got 150, 511, a Jeep, and the 506.
Yep. And here's a Hawkeye Express shot.
Oh, yes. It's still not flipping over on my side. Here we are at Coralville. Decided I'd throw this in because it's been a part of the recent history of Iowa Interstate. The Iowa Northern and Iowa Interstate run the Hawkeye Express, well, at least used to, between Coralville and Kenneck to ferry fans for the university games, home games. And the Iowa Northern provided the equipment while the Iowa Interstate provided crews.
Here we see the other end of the Iowa Hawkeye Express with the Rock Island heritage engine off the Iowa Northern.
Yeah, this engine usually ran like it didn't run. They just tacked it on the end of the train and used it as basically a shoving platform during these trips. But I know this unit runs, but it doesn't run the greatest. Here we are at Coralville again with another BICB crossing over a creek. I don't remember the creek name exactly.
I think Vernon is the correct station name there that you're looking for.
Here we are at Iowa City at the Iowa River Bridge. On the north side of the bridge, the north side of the bridge was very seldomly shot due to when trains ran, and the temporary schedule over the summer allowed for some nice shots on the north side. So here we are with BICB, and a fisherman is just casually fishing as the train thunders over the bridge.
I see you couldn't arrange for the Krandic to be working there in town at the same time.
Oh, I wish the Krandic was running. Everyone that shot there always had hopes.
No kidding.
Here we are from the Krandic side on the south side of an SASI. Here we are again on the other side of the bridge on the south side. This would be BICB with the 152 and the 511.
You can see those double-wide bridge piers that they built that never got utilized the way that the Rock Island quite expected.
Yep. Here we are back on the Krandic side. This will be a CBBI train with a very interesting lash up this day. They ran with 2 Jeeps and 2 BNGVOs from the BN trains.
It's one of those whatever it takes to get it moved days.
Yep. Here we are on the August on the Deadhead to Wilton crossing of over the bridge.
So one of the things I noticed, you must have upgraded cameras between when that last photo was taken and this one.
Yep, I used to used to use a point and shoot. I recently last year upgraded to a Canon 70D. It's taking a lot better pictures.
Yeah.
Here we are at the Iowa City Depot with an Iowa City switcher. This train would shove down the Hills track and interchange to CIC and work at P&G and the other industries on the east end of Iowa City. Coming down the hill track with CIC traffic, conductor gives a wave to Ben Root, and Jacob Narup's nice 86 square body is stealing the show here, I'd say.
Yes. It's probably the most rare piece of equipment in that particular shot anyway.
We are a bit further down the hill track with more CIC interchange traffic. This will be in January of 2021. Here we are down at the bottom of the hill track. This would have been very late in the day. I was losing light, and while editing this, I didn't really like how the light was coming through, so I made it black and white. Makes it a bit moody, I'd say. Right here they are pulling down the CIC so they can make room so they can shove make a shove back and run it back up the hill track. Here we are coming back up the hill track. Conductor's on the point while engineer is sitting in 701. Here we are back at the Iowa City Yard. The 707, again on another day, is doing some switch work on the east end. Here we are. This is summer slash late spring of 2020 with a SABI train. Here we are looking east with BICB off of, I believe this is Dodge Street.
Yep, you're looking off the same bridge there, two different directions. Looks like you got a black and white color or non-colorized meet on this one.
Yep, this was after Wilton. I was invited to ride along the Iowa Interstate back to South Amana with the steam train. Here we are being the SASI at Iowa City. Here we are. This would be known as Midway. This is between Iowa City and Downey with another BICB.
Yes, this is the one that the official name is American Legion Road?
Yep. Here we are at Downey with the BICB. This day they had assortment of power this day. They had they had 5 GEVOs and 2 Jeeps with one of the GEVOs as a DP. You don't get to see that too much.
No,
with
certainly
power lines
not.
in the Iowa Interstate. Here we are with another slug set. They are working Cascade at West Liberty. About ready to make a pickup. Here we are at the Highway 6 grade crossing with another BICB. Conductors giving friendly waves as they pass through. Here we are at the Board of Directors Deadhead Special again, passing the restored West Liberty Depot. Here's another shot of them with another FRA inspection train. That's FRA inspection train was running hotter on the heels of the Board of Directors Special.
Yeah, this guy's got one of the ex-Amtrak turboliners. Is that what I'm seeing there?
That is an ex-Am fleet car.
Ah, all right.
I believe that they acquired that within the past year or two, I believe.
Yep.
Here we are with the CRPE coal train from that with that same SD80 Mac earlier, passing by West Liberty. And this would be the last time an 80 Mac would run on the Iowa Interstate, because I believe a few months after this, the NS auctioned the 80 Macs off.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, I believe CP owns some of them now.
They're all on their way out. Well, this is on their way off the NS anyway.
Yep. Here we are at Atalissa. This is BICB. After another fresh snowfall, I was out in the Quad Cities that weekend and decided to chase this guy home. Here we are at Moscow, crossing the Iowa River Bridge on the 4th of July of 2021. This is a CRSI coal train. I mean, not coal train, ethanol train running to Chicago.
Yeah. You got a little bit of reflection in the water, but it looks like the river was pretty choppy this day.
Yep, it was pretty choppy that day. I was hoping it would be still when I got there. Here we are at North Star. North Star is between Moscow and Wilton. Here we see the eastbound CBBI and the westbound BICB meeting. The CBBI would stop a few more feet to the right, and they'd swap crews. Here we are at Wilton in January of 2021. The 516 and 513 were on BICB. I decided, hey, might as well go for it. Uh, they're hitting a snow pile here, and we're not going to exactly say how that snow pile got there.
Are you saying the city didn't put that there?
uh, I I don't know. Someone put it there. It was definitely wasn't me. Here we are at Wilton of August 2021, with 6988 making its first run out of Wilton. Here we are at Stockton, passing under what is affectionately known as the train wash, which is actually a high and wide detector for the government bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are at Walcott, this well, a little bit east of Walcott, with the same CRSI ethanol train. Getting into the Quad Cities, we're at Davenport, looking at BICB. Another day with both the Heritage Motors on the lead, making the charge up Davenport Hill out of the Mississippi Valley. Here we are. This would be an 0400 Rock Island switcher, I believe, pulling Division Street, where they interchange the CP at in the Quad Cities.
Yes. Or Taylor Street, as it's sometimes referred to. Yes.
Yep. We are just west of the government bridge, as you can see in the background, with the BICB. At this location, an old Rock Island G-head signal still stands, guarding the now ripped up siding, which they reinstalled just the other side of this bridge.
Yes. And you apparently hiked up the embankment to get here.
Yep, bit steep of a hike, but I made it up just fine.
Yep.
Here we are on the other side with that same CRSI at the government bridge. After the shot, like a few months after, I was reading through some online forums, whatnot, and supposedly this is a big no-no spot because if the guards, if the armory sees you, they'll send their police officer out there to yell at you.
Yeah. I've heard that before also. You apparently lucked out this day.
Yep, train went by, went down, I had no problem. Here we are at Rock Island Yard with the same the same train we saw at Davenport, 516 and 513. To the right is the old Iowa Interstate sign that would that stood on display at the that showed the entrance to the Rock Island Yard. Here you are, just a bit east of the location, with another. I believe this would be a Silvis switcher that made a run to Division Street with 4 motors. Here we are at Moline with the same CRSI ethanol train off the bridge coming from the armory. In the background, you can see the Tax Slayer Center and the John Deere Pavilion.
Yes. I would have, at first I thought this might have been a drone shot, but you're actually up on the bridge there.
Yep. Here we are a bit east of the location on the industrial track with another BICB. Passing, I believe that is a BN sign because I believe on this portion, the BN owns the track and maintains, but it's dispatched by the Iowa Interstate.
Yep, that's the BN Industrial Lead. Gets them from the Crescent Bridge over to their yard in Kelowna. Or not Kelowna. What am I trying to say?
Barstow.
Barstow, yes. Kelowna is where the interlocking is.
Yep. Here we are in the west end of Silvis Yard. The CRSI train is yarding while on the main, BICB is awaiting a crew to take it west. We jump over Kelowna. We are at Green River with a PESI train, a Peoria Silvis, with 519 and 2 Jeeps. Here we are at Geneseo, same train. I don't remember the crossing, but this will be on the west side of Geneseo. Same train again. We're at Atkinson now. We are shooting from a farm and ag dealership.
Almost looks like you're on a test plot where somebody went out there and drove around trying to test equipment.
Yep. Here we are at Anawan. In the background, I barely can't quite see, would be Patriot Renewables. And the last slide is of a Blue Line road switcher making the run to the CSX at Baryard.
Yeah, we skipped a few miles there, but those are the bridges over the IHB.
Yep.
And what is this? This is what the area called Tower BI, I think.
Yep. More affectionately known as Blue Line Junction.
Yes.
IHB. But basically, everyone runs here.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for the program, Jiles. We definitely appreciate it. And
No problem.
some excellent photography there today. So, everyone make sure and tune in next month. March is going to be the Larry Anglin show or the Larry Anglin collection show. And then April will be Earl Short. So, Jiles, again, thank you for your contributions. We always appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
And we will catch everyone again next month.